All right, guys, here is the 2021 Volkswagen ID.4 first edition. So to start it, you just press the brake and that's it. You're really ready to go. Put it in gear, which is right over here. Drive, just push it forward, and here we go. Just gonna get right into it. So I've been driving this car a lot. Has about 1,000 miles on it. It's our demo unit, and I've put in a lot of miles on it myself. I use it for a lot of things that we need to do around the lot, and I could tell you a lot about this car. First things first, it is amazing. This has to be my favorite Volkswagen being made right now in America, period. So, as you can tell, it is electric. It's very quiet. It's extremely smooth. Now, one of the best things about this car that I feel is overlooked, at least from all the reviews I've seen, is the chassis. The way that this car feels, the way that it hits the bumps, everything is just composed. The car just glides over everything. It's extremely quiet as well. Probably gonna be hard to tell in the video, but if I just honk the horn, you could see. I hope that guy doesn't think I'm honking at him, but you can just hear how quiet it is. An awesome thing about this car, though, because it's electric, it has regeneration. My favorite thing is the B mode. So right now, just driving straight, I'm actually not pressing the gas. If I just go ahead and put it in B, the car will start to slow down. And for me, this mimics how a dual clutch car drives, like a DSG. When you're in manual mode and you let go, or even if you're just in regular drive or sport, you let go of the throttle and the car starts to brake. Engine braking, really, in a traditional car, but on this, it still has that feel. So for me, I always drive this car in the braking mode. It has up to 2 Gs of braking, which is more than enough, honestly. Until you get to around 3 miles an hour, 3 miles an hour, it won't slow down as much anymore. But right now I have this car in its comfort setting, and it does have a dynamic chassis, so it adjusts with each setting. I like it actually most in comfort because this is a heavier car, so it is a little bit stiffer when it's in that sport mode. It's still comfortable, but even for driving hard, which I've driven this car pretty hard, it takes the edge off and it actually kind of performs better when it's smoother. But the highlights of this car is really the way that it feels and the way that it handles, and especially at higher speeds, it's very stable and composed. I've driven a couple other EVs, like a Tesla Model 3, driven a couple of those, and Volkswagen is Volkswagen, of course, being German. They're just a lot more refined, especially this car. This car has refinement closer to Audi rather than Volkswagen, which is probably why I love it so much. It's just a super solid riding car. And it has some cool features, like right now going through a school zone, I can go ahead and just set. I have the travel assist, which I just turned on. Travel assist is pretty cool. It'll basically just take over. You do have to keep your hands on the wheel, but it does a pretty good job at driving itself. Me loving driving this car, I never really use it. Except for school zones, I really always use the cruise control. A big reason why this car also handles so well is because it does have a staggered set. on this vehicle, so the rear is wider than the front. I know it has a 265 rear tire, which is pretty good, and you can really feel it when you start to push it, and the body roll isn't as obvious in this car because of that. And just an example right here, this is a rear-wheel drive motor with 200 horses going about 30 miles an hour. If I just speed up, that's a full floor. It does speed up very nicely. It's super torquey. It's not going to blow your socks off or anything like that. It is very usable. It's actually pretty comparable to like a Mark 6 GTI GLI. Reminds me of that. I had that car, and only difference is you don't have to be in boost. Let's just go. Boom. 1, 2, 3. Easy, ready to go. But if you do want more power, the all-wheel drive version with 300 horses will be here very soon, and that is going to be the one that you're going to want. And you can see, car handles very well. It speeds up very quickly. Brakes are still good. The brakes, mostly regeneration, but you get the point. It's an EV, so yeah. The reason why I love this car so much is, of course, the way that this car is built, but in general, the appeal for an EV, to me at least, is how seamless everything is. So the way that this car feels to me is telepathic. Like, whatever I think, it's gonna do it. It's gonna do it exactly how I want it to do it too. Quick, slow, aggressive turning, doesn't matter. It does it all while being quiet too. So that's one of the best things about an EV, is that you can drive however you want. You'll never bother anyone. Whereas with my GLI, can't say the same, honestly. It is loud and obnoxious, so that's something a lot of people won't like. Besides that, if you're not tied to a gas car, there's really nothing else that Volkswagen has that is up to this level of refinement, really, besides maybe an Arteon or a Golf R. And when we used to make the Touareg, it reminded me of this type of dialed-in experience like this. But if you're looking for an amazing daily that's electric, definitely come drive the ID.4. It's one of the best. I can't recommend it enough. I'm actually going to get the all-wheel drive version myself, and it's not for me per se. It's going to be for my girlfriend. She's going to be trading in her Tiguan, and I have a lot of experience with the Tiguan too. I drive it all the time. It's a great car. It's very comfortable, but this has more of a split personality, whereas a Tiguan will always be comfortable. It handles decent with the R-Line package, which I have because it has a 20-inch wheel, but if you throw that car really hard into a corner, it'll take it to an extent, to a limit. This car has a much higher limit. It's really funny because it's just an EV. That's how everyone looks at it, like, oh, it's just an ID.4, it's just a SUV, but it feels like so much more. It really does. It really, really does. It handles so well. I love this thing. Anytime I come out of a turn, I just wanna hammer it. And I think that's just anytime I drive an EV, I just feel like I just want to get on it. So some other great things about the ID.4. When you purchase an ID.4, you do get free charging for 3 years with Electrify America, which is very nice. They are still building them, so there's not as many as I would like there to be, but with time, they will get better. Have car in sport mode. Let's see. It's full throttle, getting off a little bit. You can can see, this thing likes to go, and it stays relatively flat for it being an almost 5,000 pound SUV. It's hilarious. It really shouldn't be this good, but it is. And this is only with 200 horses. I can't wait to feel it with a lot more. So nice turn. So one thing about the rear wheel drive that is annoying, and Volkswagen, I guess, didn't want this car to spin or anything like that off the line. It kind of is laggy off the line, and I think it's just because it doesn't want to spin the rear tires. I'll show you guys right now. In the sport mode, just floor it. See, once it gets to like 15 miles an hour, then it'll just start pulling. But until you hit that, it kind of has a dead spot. But when you're rolling, like right now, if I'm just rolling along and I just get on it, it has more than enough passing power. The torque is just instant. It's amazing. Can't wait to feel the all-wheel drive though. An extra 100 horses is going to be really, 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 really nice on this car. Alright, we're about to hit a on-ramp, and let's see what this thing is like on the highway. So, give it some throttle. We're going. So giving it throttle, has good passing power up top. Very quiet, very stable, still comfortable. So, the thing about electric cars is that electric cars are doing what gas cars have been trying to do for such a long time. Be very responsive, be quiet, be affordable to maintain. That's all of this. And because it's so quiet, it's even more luxurious. So an entry-level SUV like this that's relatively affordable feels like it's in a class above everything else, even compared to a Tiguan. So I don't know, guys. I know I do love gas cars, but I know why this is the future. It's gonna be a lot easier for people to have this car than a gas car. It really is. It's just the facts. Even down to maintenance. Like, this car has a rear drum brake. The reason why is because most hybrids and EVs, they usually don't use the rear brakes that often, and when they do, it's so little. And when they need to change their brakes, it's not because the brake pad is low, it's usually because of rust. So Volkswagen put a rear drum brake. They say that it'll last the lifetime of the vehicle, which I could see that happening. I guess we'll have to see them. This car hasn't been out that long, so I can't say it's been tested. But this is our future, and honestly, I'm not mad. I love it. I still love gas cars. I think that they'll be around for another 10 to 20 years, but it will come to an end, guys. And it's only gonna get better. Right now with this car, you get 260 miles combined by EPA tested range. My experience, you can get more than that going around town. Highway, you get a little less than that, which is why it's combined 260. Right now I do have the AC on, so if you're looking, I think we started with like 10 more miles than that. I'm not sure exactly how many miles we drove, but it's a decent amount, and it's more than enough for daily driving. And if you have a charger at your home, which I'd 100% recommend doing so, you're really not gonna have to worry about it. You can drive the car 2 or 3 days without charging and then go home, charge it up. It takes 8 to 10 hours on a level 2 charger, and that means basically when you wake up the next morning, you're ready to go. Someone like me, I work at the dealer. Having an EV would be easy. I could plug it in at my own job, and there are some other people that I know that don't work at dealerships, but they work at places that have chargers, and that's going to be a more common scenario with everyone going full electric. So yeah, I see the appeal. I'm 100% on board. For me, I just need something that's going to be actually fast but also refined. I don't like with the Tesla Model 3. I've driven the rear-wheel drive and the all-wheel drive. I haven't driven the performance, but I can just tell it's not as refined as I like. Even to the point where my GLI felt a lot more solid than a Model 3. But it's different. The Germans think about refinement, highway speeds, all that type of stuff, and Tesla, not so much. Not at all, actually. They're all 0 to 60, except for that new Plaid. And that Plaid is something else. So here's a look at the ID.4 from the outside. Again, this is the first edition. So it's got some nice big wheels. It's basically like a Pro S. This one has the tow hitch as well. Folding mirrors on the outside. It looks so good in this blue. I love it. So also, if you look really closely, it does have a light bar. It looks really cool, honestly, during the nighttime. And the plate, I pass gas stations, LOL. As I get close, you see it just opened up, so now you can get in. The way that you open up the vehicle, it is flat here, it's flush. You can lock it here just like regular Kessie. Underneath, it's like a button. And one thing about this car that I love, it's a German built vehicle, so the fit and finish is amazing. You can even hear it. Look, the door sounds ridiculous. It is so heavy, and it sounds heavy too. So going inside, also sounds amazing. The car does turn on because it feels me in the seat, but it didn't actually turn on. If you want to turn it on, you have to press the brake. Now it's on. So we can talk about some things on the interior, like this is very cool, very Audi. My father's Audi has that too. The glass panel, it is quite amazing. It doesn't open. It does have a shade though. I want to leave it open, so it is touch sensitive, so you just swipe your finger. Very cool. Now the seats, you do have memory, and you have a massage. Turn that on now, actually. And now the infotainment. A lot of people have said a couple things about this. I like the infotainment. There are just a couple things that I don't like. I'll show you everything about this though. First, you can swipe along, you can see the map. We're in Huntington. My phone, since start. Got a bunch of settings. go to vehicle. It's pretty responsive once the vehicle is on. It's really not too crazy. See, 1,179. I bet I drove 1,000 of those miles. But the infotainment is pretty much like all the other Volkswagen systems. It just has a modern look now. What's different is a couple things. The climate control is very different, and the volume. If you want to control the volume, it's right here. I actually have it right here. It's gonna go up and down, slide left and right, or you can tap. You can turn off the system right there, and then you can adjust your heat and cooling the same way. Now, there are a couple ways to get to the climate control system. You can press climate here, it'll come up, exit out there, or you can double tap this and it'll come up. Now, one of my biggest thing, the biggest thing that I don't like about this new system is the way the climate works. Now, works just like anything else, but the way you turn it on is very frustrating. So right now this is off, right? I just turned it off with that off button. I can't turn this on. I can't turn it on. If I tell Volkswagen also with voice control to turn it on, it'll say that it's unavailable. You have to actually go in, turn it on, and then it will work. The reason why that's so annoying is because on a regular Volkswagen, an older one, with the automatic climate control system, you just get in, turn the knob, or even just adjust the temperature, it will turn on the climate. Now you have an extra step. I feel like that was a big mistake. It's very silly. I don't like that. Besides that though, everything else on this is pretty easy. There is a learning curve with the whole button situation all being touch, but honestly, anyone from this day and age can get used to it. It's nothing super hard. Same thing with steering wheel. You can adjust this with the volume. So, and you can tap it too. The view, we'll adjust that right there. Pretty cool. And then you have all your travel assist and adaptive cruise control. Pretty straightforward. You have, this is customizable. You can switch this around down there. One of these are loose. You can actually put this back into place like that. 2 USB ports, a wireless charger, and something that I love, you can hide this. So that's a very nice feature. Another thing I'm not too crazy on are these switches here. So the switches are fine themselves, it's just how you activate the rear. So there's only 2. If you want to use the rear, you have to tap on this, and then boom. Now I can control the rear. It takes some getting used to. Not the worst thing ever, but it takes a little bit of getting used to. And then you have the child safety over here. Yeah, cool, but don't think I really need it. Some people might appreciate it, but something I don't necessarily need. Now getting out of the vehicle. Once I get out, it will turn off, which is cool. Go ahead and close it again. Love that door sound. Get into the rear. Still have a lot of space. I'm sitting behind myself, and I am only 5'7", and I don't sit that close to the steering wheel. I have a lot of space, tons of space. Actually, I've seen 6-foot people sit back here without an issue, and yeah, I have a ton of space. All right, so now with the rear, you can open up with the key fob. Like the Golf, it's got this nice little privacy cover, and it has a good amount of space, honestly. Underneath here, you have more space, and then underneath here is your fix-a-flat. Got the level 1 charger right here. It's gonna be 38 hours plus on a good day, but that is a very slow charge. Press that right there, real close, and the charging port. Got regular charging, DC fast charging, standard Volkswagen stuff. Close it. That's it. And yeah, So overall thoughts on this car as it starts to rain. Like I said, I think this is one of Volkswagen's best. I waited for this car for such a long time and it did not disappoint at all. I can't wait to see what Volkswagen comes out with next. I'm really excited for the future. I really do love electric cars. I'm not like a lot of those other guys who are not ready for it. I'm ready. Give me a 0 to 60 in 3-second EV and I'll be there. Just has to have a Volkswagen badge on it. That'd be amazing. But thanks guys, and any other questions, let me know. Come on down and test drive for yourself. It's available for anyone to take a ride in. All right guys, see you later.